our days off, that's kind of just how we kick it. We're walking around malls, we're just popping in and out of, you're killing time in between gigs or... So they were on their North American tour a couple days ago, and they had a stop in Kansas City, I think on the Kansas side. And they were at the Oak Park Mall, and a shooting broke out about 4 o'clock local time. And they were just in there, dicking around. And half the band hid in like an office or something, or that one of the stores locked itself down. And so a couple of the guys made it to the bus. A couple of the other guys were stuck in this store with about 15 other people. And they're just texting back and forth to the people on the bus. And I don't know what the casualty situation was, but none of the guys in Blackstone Cherry got hurt. But I do dig that band. By the way, I'm giving away those alter ego trips all week around 5. And 30 Seconds to Mars is one of those bands. You might want to go see 30 Seconds to Mars here in Cleveland. I will have those tickets for you next week, too. They set that date at Blossom for the first week of August. And we're only here Monday and Tuesday because of the holiday next week, but I'll have 30 Seconds to Mars tickets for you. If you don't win one of those trips to L.A., I can put you at Blossom next summer to see those guys. Jared Leto in all of his glory, all of his shredded, middle-aged glory. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't a tad envious of my buddy JL because, for obvious reasons. So Blackstone Cherry, those guys are okay. But they are on tour. They're not coming to Cleveland. They are playing Cincinnati, if you dig them enough to go see them. And there's probably a reason for that because they just ranked Cincinnati the best city in Ohio in which to live. I got to tell you, when we were on our way to Louisville, I'll tell you what I couldn't figure out. I don't know anything about Cincinnati, but what struck me was how much, I'm not even sure how to put it. We were driving through Cincinnati on our way to Kentucky. Cincinnati just looks so dense compared to Cleveland. When you're taking that trip along the river and you're going past downtown, you see the stadiums and the downtown looks dense and it's got that kind of old architecture, and you kind of drive past downtown Cleveland and, it's just something seems thin about downtown Cleveland. I'm like, why is Cincinnati? It's on a river. It's not on a lakefront. It's not technically landlocked, but it's not on a lakefront.
But there's 3 cities. There's 3 different states that Cincinnati caters to: Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky.
You think that's what it is?
Yes, that is what it is. There was
because you know what I mean. Like when you drive by, you're like, there just seems to be. It just seems to be like really built up and out.
It's the biggest city amongst the 3 states, so everyone kind of converges there.
Okay. If
there's a concert, if they need to catch a flight, a game, whatever, Cincinnati is that place for those 3 different cities right there. Because, if you live just over the border in Kentucky, the closest one is Louisville, and I think that's Louisville.
That's a good 90 minutes outside
that's
Cincinnati.
Like an hour and a half. Or if you're just on the border of Indiana, Indianapolis would be your closest city, and that is...
But that's just like any suburbs.
But not really, though. Around here, we have something nearby. Like, it doesn't take 2 hours to get to, you can get to Cleveland, or you could go to Akron. You could get to Youngstown. You could get to Canton. Those are all within 2 hours.
Okay, that's an explanation that makes sense to me.
Columbus is 2 hours away. Dayton's 2 hours away.
From here?
But I'm talking about if you're in Indiana or Kentucky.
Well, if you're in Kentucky, Louisville's 2 hours away, or less than 2 hours away.
But why would you go away if you're just over the border in Cincinnati?
Right, but I'm saying metropolitan areas have a suburban, like the greater Cincinnati area, the greater Cleveland area. The state part of it you're not making any sense. It's just because that's the biggest city in the area.
But amongst those 3 states is what I'm saying. Indiana and Kentucky all converge right there.
I understand the geographical location of it.
So I'm saying if you're just on the outside.
But it's just this, like, it's not the big, it's about the same size as Cleveland.
I understand that.
I don't understand what you're trying to convey.
But we don't have people from Pennsylvania or Indiana coming here. I'm just saying, if you're in one of these little
what does that have to do with anything?
Because it's the biggest city amongst those 3 states.
But what? But why?
But why would that build the city up?
Why does that matter?
Because they use that city's resources. They go to those games. They go to the Cincinnati Reds. They go to those concerts.
Just like people in this area do as well.
But we don't get people from Hershey, Pennsylvania coming to Cleveland.
Okay, Cody, wait. Hold on. Let me. That explains. I take that, and that explains the economic part of it. I'm talking about why is Cincinnati so built up? Now, I understand that in reading this article, it's the median home price is way below the U.S. average, so it's relatively affordable. The median age there is 38. It's not nearly as old demographically as this area is. But just driving through, and again, I know nothing about Cincinnati. I've never stopped off. But I just driving through, I'm like, wow, it's really like built up. It looks dense. Whereas when you drive past downtown Cleveland, you're like, there it is. We're already past it.
The thing with Cincinnati, when you're driving on the highway, is you're actually going, like, it's kind of split. Whereas Cleveland's all on one side of the highway, too.
Okay.
I think that's more of the optical illusion of it.
And I figured that had something to do with it, but yeah, I don't know.
Because I think they're very comparable in how much they're built up, because there's a lot of parts of Cincinnati that are very similar to Cleveland, where there was stuff there and now it's gone, but then there's a lot of stuff that has come back over the past 10 or 15 years because people are moved back into the city and started building things back up in cities.
They do chalk part of it up to the fact that Cincinnati has a number of Fortune 500 companies, so you're going to end up getting people from other countries.
Are those from
there.
other states?
What do you mean?
Are they from Indiana and Kentucky?
No, I don't, No, but I mean, that's why Atlanta really blew up. That's why Atlanta is a world-class city, because they have like the North American headquarters of 5 or 6 companies there.
And Columbus has got a similar thing going on, which is, very far from any other states. I'm so hung up on Poundcake going to bat so hard on people from Indiana and Kentucky going to Cincinnati, and I understand
but I don't understand why you're confused by it. What did I not explain?
Those are just Cincinnati suburbs. So just like it's not like,
but they're not suburbs. Yeah, sure, it's in the metro, but if you're living in a small town in Kentucky, you might do all your shopping in Cincinnati, or you might go to a game out in Cincinnati. It might
just like if you're in a small town in Ohio, you'll come to
Cleveland. To Cleveland,
yes.
I get it.
So I don't understand the importance of it being a different state that makes it so much more significant. Well,
because I'm saying you cater to Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. Those 3 states, they're all putting their money into one city, and that boosts the economy. It boosts businesses. Housing prices will go up all around because that's the nearest that is the closest
Alan
metro.
just said the housing prices are low
in Cincinnati.
Yeah, lower than the national average. Yeah, the median home price is way below. It's younger demographically, and the median home price is way lower than the national average. Now that's an average. Some places are really cheap, like Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Some places are really expensive.
Is their mall jumping downtown versus our Tower City?
No, their downtown's very similar to our downtown, where on game days and when there's a concert or something, it's going around, like it's pumping pretty good. But for the most part,
does Cincinnati have more universities than here?
I believe it does, because it's got Xavier, it's got University of Cincinnati.
Okay.
And I think there's one more, but University of Cincinnati is a big school, and so is Xavier.
The Cincinnati airport is in Kentucky, someone says.
Yes.
Okay. Anywho, that is the #1 city in the best place to live in Ohio is Cincinnati.
Do they get a tax break for
Cincinnati, Youngstown, Columbus, Toledo, Cleveland, Dayton. According to U.S. News and World Report, Toledo and Youngstown are both better to live than Cleveland.
That's BS.
Sorry, Dayton.
That's not true.
Well, according to U.S. News and World Report, and here's why I trust.
But cheaper is not always better.
Here's why I trust them. Anybody could put out a news report. Anybody could put out a world report. They've put out both. They pride themselves on giving you the U.S. news and a world report. I've got $1,000 to give to you here. We'll send you out to the land of above average home prices. Or no, this isn't alter ego. See, we have so many things to give away. I'm screwing myself up. This is just money. Are you cool with money?
Yeah, love money.
It's $1,000 from the Buzzard Bookie. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Bills. That's bills. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Poundcake, do you watch the show Extreme Weight Loss? You know, we've talked about my 600-pound life. There's another show called Extreme Weight Loss. Have you ever seen that show?
He's on the phone.
Oh, he's on the phone. This was on ABC. This was a network show.
I'm sorry, what did you ask?
Have you ever watched the show Extreme Weight Loss? It's a network show on ABC.
No.
I know you like my 600-pound life, but the show Extreme Weight Loss.
I don't like them when they lose weight. I want to see, what? It's true. People watch those shows to see how
they see the
your
before.
600-pound life. I don't want to see a bunch of flabby skin. That's not fun to me.
Well, one of the stars of that show has just died at 40.
Oh.
Brandy, well, don't pretend to be all bummed out now.
What'd she do?
Brandy Mallory. She weighed 329 pounds, and then she lost a whole bunch of weight.
That's not that much.
And what's not what much?
I know some 300.
That is a lot. That's a very heavy person.
I know some 300-pound people, but these
that
people,
doesn't mean that's not a lot of weight just because you know some.
But I'm saying 600 pounds is like...
Okay, yes, that's a different show.
But these people are living. Like, they living
300,
and mates.
But 329 is still very heavy. Just because they're not...
Die.
Huh?
Not enough to die.
Yes, it's all enough to die. You know how hard your heart has to work to keep everything... That's why I can't believe... I mean, again...
600-pound life?
Yeah.
How big was this person? They're 329. How tall were they?
I don't know. She was in season 4.
That's what I'm saying. America is a very fat country.
She trained to compete in a half Ironman. It doesn't say what she got down to. But, I think once people on these shows, there's probably some amount of pressure, too, to kind of maintain or, I don't know, man. But, yeah, she died at 40. I don't know. I just wonder if you watch that. It sounded like a show you would be clicking in on.
He doesn't like the success stories.
Yeah, honestly, but like
he wants them to fail. He watches Dr. Now. What's the Dr. Now show?
Yeah, it's 600-pound life.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Dr. Now's
you need to stop eating all the chips.
You stink. Why did
you smell? Get off the chips.
Why don't you stick to your diet?
And that guy's no 175 pounds either.
No.
He's walking around telling people he could run a couple of miles.
But I'm saying, I don't know what they're going to do once he dies because he's like in his 80s, I think. And
well, you'd never know it from that naturally dark brown hair he's sporting.
He looks like Jigsaw, dude. I do not want to mess with that guy.
Like Laura Loomer? Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Alan. How's it going?
Jimmy.
Hey, so what you guys were saying about why Cincinnati was so built up compared to Cleveland, really what Cleveland got screwed over by how the highway system is set up, because you have the inner belt like completely cutting off downtown from everything else.
Yeah.
And the lake, and then you have the shoreway right on the lakefront. Like you lived in Chicago, so you know how nicely developed their lakefront is compared to ours.
Yes.
Like we're completely wasting that. And then you have the river, splitting Ohio City from everything else, and then the flats that are just it's still heavily industrial. It's not really residential or social.
I mean, it's getting more built up over in the flats,
but
because they're always building new condos over on West 25th. Like they just tore down a whole apartment, like old apartment building in there, putting tons of stuff into that. So, like, it's happening. Like, there's always things happening.
They just said they're going to tear down that Eagle Avenue Bridge. That huge metal structure that's over the river there. They're going to tear that down.
The waste of the lakefront is tragic.
Yes.
Like, that is insane. And the way that, like Tremont and Cleveland downtown doesn't really connect. You have to kind of weave around over bridges and stuff to make that connect. And it's but there's a lot of that in Cincinnati too, because of the river, and then lots of dead spots in Cincinnati that are real.
If you go, you'll die.
Like wastelands. Not even that. Like, you won't even die because there's nobody there.
I mean, I mean, in the mid '90s when just Mayor Daley overnight paved over the private lakefront airport. He was like, screw it, I'm going to do what I want to do, and paved over Miggs Field and turned it into something else. They're not going to do that here, right? Bibb is not going to overnight shut down Burke Lakefront and pave it over so they can build condos and crap like that. He doesn't have that kind of political capital. He hasn't been doing the job for 20 years and just doing whatever he wants to do. So obviously they're...
Right, and Burke is built on a landfill anyway.
Right. Well, they all are. All those things are landfill. So they're like, yeah, we'd like to develop this, but it takes way more than, I mean, Miggs Field in Chicago, that was all landfill. They figured out what to do, and they turned it into a concert venue, part of it, but then you go there and you're just bombarded with mayflies and crap like that. So it's not exactly a fun experience.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
The lake screws over Cleveland. Like, we can't really build out that way anymore. So I say, build over Tremont.
Well, listen, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're building out from Brown Stadium. So, I mean, that whole thing back past the Rock Hall, and they're going to do all that. So it can be done. There's ways to do it.
I was going to say, if Chicago...
Ways to develop anything.
Like, I know Cleveland's an old city, but Chicago's way bigger and older, right? Or,
I mean, it's pretty old, yeah. Sure.
Saying, if they can build a shoreline...
It's a matter of having the money to develop, having the political capital to do it. If you have a city that isn't constantly giving its tax revenue to billionaires who own sports teams,
but you
might have a couple of bucks left over.
I'm excited to see the Sherwin-Williams building, though. Like, it's coming together nicely.
Oh, you're the one. Hey, I got to take a break. If you want to send a text, 35192, you can listen wherever you are on the iHeartRadio app.
Buzzard Radio.
The Buzzard
is Rover.
If anyone knows medical stuff, it's a guy named Rover.
Rock. The Legends Ride. And Alan Cox.
There are multiple varieties of beeves.
I'm home of the Cavaliers.
This is Cavaliers point guard Darius Garland on 100.7 WMMS.
Your afternoon drive is brought to you